How goes it, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the channel. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys why, if you got like a couple $100 in your pocket and you're trying to get a pretty decent Android device, why the Google Pixel 8a is one that you should kind of look in its direction, especially if you want that stock Android experience and really nice cameras and everything. We'll go all into that. Shout out to you guys for heading in today. If you guys could do me a solid, smash the like button, I would appreciate it. The Pixel 8a is a phone that I would say was kind of slept on by everybody, just because, you know, there was that weird moment where Google was kind of, they were making like the Pixel 7, and then they came out with the Pixel 7a. It was like $100 difference, but there wasn't like a giant difference as far as specifications, and so people were just like, why is this even here? And then the same thing repeated with the Pixel 8a and the Pixel 8. The Pixel 8 came out and everyone was like, cool, it's a nice phone. The 8a comes along and then they start looking at what the 8a offers compared to the 8, and then of course the price difference, and people were like, why is that even here? But today is a different day. So with that being said, this thing can be found for hella cheap online if you're looking for one. And I will give you guys an example of some places that I looked at. But to just kind of think about it, because I had the Pixel 9a, I got it, I used it, it's my main daily driver from time to time. I tend to kind of switch away from it and use other things. And I could tell you guys that right now, if you have a Pixel 8a and you were even considering going to the Pixel 9a, there's not really a reason to upgrade. There's not a huge difference. I mean, maybe the one thing that I can say off the top of my head that's different between these two is that this has the vapor cooling chamber, which shocked a lot of us that it was put into the 9a. Of course, the Pixel 8a doesn't have that. But then again, my Pixel 8a doesn't go through a lot of like overheating that some people have reported on places like Reddit and Facebook and such. So, I mean, I don't know what people are doing differently with their Pixel 8a, but I don't really have that problem unless I'm outside, which is going to make sense. When you're 115-degree heat, your phone's going to heat up. So it is what it is. It's a compact king, which I said about in a past review that I did on the Pixel 8a. 6.1 inch display, and the body size is pretty small, I would say. I was rocking the Tensor G3 chip, which I think is a very capable chip. It's not like the most powerful chip out there. It's not meant to be, but it is capable in getting my day-to-day tasks done and things that I do on the phone. So nothing wrong with that right there. And it comes in two storage options, 128 gig or 256, depending on which one you want, is depending on the pricing you're gonna pay. You got a 64 megapixel main shooter and then a 13 megapixel ultra wide, and then you get a 13 megapixel selfie cam in the front, right? 4,492 milliamp hour battery pretty much powers this thing beyond a day's use. So I could go a whole day plus an additional half a day on a single battery charge with light usage, but I don't do that. And then the only caveat that I would say are two things. One, IP67 water and dust resistant, with the 9a being IP68. But the other thing is the charging on this. So there are a lot of different other phones out there that have like 65 watt charging, 100 watt charging, that are semi flagship, and they can charge a battery from 0 to 50% in like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And this one still has 7.5 wireless charging wattage, 7.5 watts wireless charging, and then I believe it's 18 watts, 18 or 20, I think 18 or 23 watts of wire charging. Still, basically, 0 to 50% is going to be like 40 minutes. So not a really good look. I wish that Google would up the charging speeds of these. But the reason why that I say that this is a pretty solid phone to look at if you only got a couple $100 in your pocket and you're trying to get a new phone is I've seen this right now on places like OfferUp, which is a good spot to pick up phones, and I'll tell you guys why in a future video. But I see people putting these things up for like $150, 175. The lowest I've seen someone selling a pretty decent one is $105, and that's just in my neck of the woods. So I can only imagine what it is in your area. It could be ballparked around the same pricing, but I would say something that you can find for less than $200 that gives you a really good experience. And then the big kicker here, this thing is supported for 7 years, so it's got another 6 more years of software OS update support before it's no longer supported. That's pretty huge, especially for somebody who just wants to buy a phone. wants to pay dirt cheap for the phone, wants to get a flagship experience from a phone, and doesn't want to upgrade for like a while, then the Pixel 8a's got you.